if the factual scientific explanation accounts for disagreements about climate change, partisan disagreements, one would expect that the more education people have, the greater the tendency to converge on climate change, whether it's human caused, whether it's really a problem, whether we should do something about it. In fact, it's just the opposite. The partisan divide on climate change exists at all levels of education. Democrats think one thing, Republicans think another. But the more education, the greater the partisan divide on climate change and whether it's human caused and whether it's being exaggerated. And the greater the scientific literacy, it's not only, the surveys have looked not only at education levels, but even the scientific literacy and knowledge. The more science people know, the more likely they are to disagree on a partisan basis about climate change, which supports the idea, but tell me if you find this plausible, that the way to heal the seemingly separate universes of fact in the climate change debate is not to say, if only we could get those people to grasp the right facts. It's to see that it's really about trust, it's about authority, it's about deep political disagreements. To ask what's the source of those disagreements? How can we begin to address those? How can we begin to restore some trust across social divisions? Then I think the problem about facts and science will become more pliable rather than the other way around. What do you think about it? Do you agree or
I'm not completely sure because, again, it's a very American thing. You don't see this in China. You don't see this in many other countries around the world, this kind of politicization and polarization around climate change to the degree that you see it in the US. What I would say is that we are seeing increasing politicization of more and more scientific disciplines. And scientists generally, and what you said is mainly from the viewpoint of politicians who hope that the scientists would do the heavy lifting for them. You know, you have a politician who doesn't have a formula for how to overcome the political divide, so right. He or she expects some kind of scientific deus ex machina. Okay, let the scientists come and solve this political problem that I can't solve. And this won't work. I mean, I completely agree. I don't think that scientists are good politicians. I think that politics is, again, it's a profession on itself. You can be the best scientist in the world and a terrible, terrible politician.
Right.
And actually, it's almost guaranteed to be like that because science is about truth eventually, whereas politics is about power. And truth and power pull you in opposite directions. I think that somebody tries to win an election in the US, in Israel, in Brazil, and tells the public the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, has 100% guarantee of losing the election. Politics is never just about the truth. You need some ingredient of truth there, but this is not the way that you win an election.